everybody. I'd like to call the Baldwin City Council together for April 15th. If you would please stand for the invocation of the pledge. Father God, thank you for this absolutely beautiful, spectacular day. We are warmed by your sunshine and the beautiful rays. Bless everybody who's in here, especially our first responders. We are graced with their presence tonight. Please lead us to make wise decisions. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, good evening, everybody. We have an exciting meeting tonight. The first item on our agenda is Fire Department Promotion Recognition. Chief Roy.
Good evening.
Good evening.
How y'all? Well, it's that time to do some promotions again, and I'd like to get Chief Benfield up here, Lieutenant Dakota, and Captain Jackson. Mayor, can you come up? Let's get you guys over here.
Yeah, but that was going to turn
And then one of these you do one. So that's Lieutenant. Two holes. Okay. So, we did a promotion for lieutenant and a promotion for captain. And the way we did it is we did interviews, we did hot seat scenarios, and we also did interviews. Hot seat scenarios when the firefighter sits in a chair in front of a board and somebody draws a picture of a fire in a house, whatever it might be, and he has to start from the very beginning when he gets up on the scene and explain everything that needs to be done. And he might get two scenarios, he might get one, but he gets scored on that. We had Banks County come up and they did that for us. So me and Chief B was not involved in the promotions. We did interviews, we had Emily do the interviews for us, and then she scored them. And they had to do a written exam of 150 question exam.
Wow.
And they got scored on that. Then they got scored on the whole thing as a whole. For lieutenant, we had 5 of our guys that were available to test out for lieutenant. They had the requirements to test for lieutenant. And out of those 5, firefighter Dakota Hunt made lieutenant. Dakota comes to us from Madison County Fire Department. Started with us in March of 23. Been a firefighter total for 11 years. He holds firefighter 1. These are certifications with state. There's so many certifications we got, but the ones that are with the state, the Georgia, that are national professional qualified, which is NVQ, which other states recognize those certifications. So if you was to go somewhere else, they would recognize it. Most of all states do. Firefighter 1, firefighter 2, hazmat operations, apparatus operator, and they just finished up instructor 1. Then that brings us to Mr. Jackson. Mr. Jackson started with us in 2015. He had left for a small period of time, but he was a volunteer. Then he came back full time again in December 2018. He's been a firefighter for 9 years. He holds apparatus operator, firefighter 1, firefighter 2, hazmat ops, inspector 1, and fire instructor 1. And he tested out for captain. He was the only one that was qualified to test for captain. and then he got captured. They've all been on a probational period. We passed that period down, so I won't go into them. And if you guys would, they're gonna put their badges on them, which is a lieutenant badge for Lieutenant Hunt, captain badge for Captain Jackson.
All right, round of applause. I'm gonna smack my leg.
Those are tricky, aren't they?
Yeah.
That no mix.
Congratulations. Good job. Congratulations, so deserving.
Congratulations to you for leading this.
Yes.
This is remarkable.
Congratulations, everyone.
Congratulations.
You guys,
Congratulations.
we know how hard you work and how hard you train, and you are the best, and we appreciate all of you. Yep. Congrats. Yay! Okay, somebody might want to pass this back down that way. Oh, yes, thank you.
So most of you don't know that my grandfather was a firefighter, and I could not be more proud of this crew. Thank you for everything you do, for picking my mother up off the floor too many times to count. Thank you, everybody, for serving the residents of Baldwin faithfully and with the utmost class. So thank you, and thank you, Chief, for leading such a great crew. Okay, before I cry. I want to do.
Already.
Oh, wow, yeah, that's a big night. Okay, the next item on the agenda is approval of minutes, council meeting minutes for 3/25/24, work session for 4/9/24. Has everybody had an opportunity to read those? Any, are we off? Are we on?
Maybe I'm trying to be discreet.
Oh.
Somebody turned the switch off that shouldn't be off.
There it is. There we go. There we go. Okay. Okay. Has everybody had an opportunity to read the minutes?
Yeah.
Any comments, questions, concerns? No. Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? I have a motion from Councilwoman Venter. Can I have a second?
Second.
All those in, okay. Second from Councilman Satterfield. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Sorry, folks, with us. All right, public, we have no, public comments. Are there any Baldwin residents among us who would like to address council? Please come forward, state your name and address. There being none, we have no public hearings tonight. Reports, we have no reports. Under old business, we have consideration approval of the second reading of the Otter Special Use Permit, number 2024-03140Z. Ms. Woodmaster.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So in your packet tonight, you do have the second reading of the special use permit. We have modified that language from variance to special use permit for the professional park property owned by Wink Birdery, with the application submitted by Danny Otter and Otter Realty. They are requesting a special use permit to allow for an apartment to be established above the current occupants of the downstairs building. Any questions about that?
We covered it pretty good.
Ready to go?
Yeah.
Okay, can I have a motion to approve the second reading of the Otter Special Use Permit ordinance number 2024-03140Z as presented?
So moved.
I have a motion from Councilwoman Venter. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
I have a second from Councilman Keith. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? carries unanimously.
Thank you.
All right, the next item of old business, consideration approval of animal control IGA. Is Woodmaster again.
Yes. So the IGA is the same one that was presented last week in our work session. The county denied both of our requests, or both options that we presented to them a few weeks back from our last meeting. And what they have presented to us is the original agreement once modified from the population percentage issue to a grand total of $18,455.58. We'll reiterate that the language in this IGA is not reflective of the calculation that they are choosing to use. It should not say from the cost less tax digest contribution under compensation in Article 3. It should say the gross digest percentage, and it does not, and they rejected that proposal. Other than that, there are no changes to this IGA. It is a decision of council.
And one of the concerns that Councilman Denter had last week was to have a correct formula
Yeah,
in this document, yet we don't have that.
you know, it's one of those things where we're stuck between a rock and a hard place. We absolutely need animal control, specifically because of the reasons that Chief Jones laid out. And we're not, we just don't have any choices. Now, I want to make it very clear that the problem that I have is not at all with the people that work at animal control. They are fantastic people, they're doing a great job.
Here.
The problem that I have is that we don't have hard numbers. We don't have a hard set formula. And, you know, it's not, look, I prefer for it to be free of course, but this is not an exorbitant number that we have to pay for this. That being said, now we go down the road again, new commissioners come in, and all of a sudden everything changed because there's nothing in the books. We need to have this sorted out. And I'll get off my soapbox now, but, you know, we don't have a choice really.
Well, the county has asked us to approve this by April 30th, that still gives us one more meeting. We can go back one more time and ask them for the correct language. Have you seen any other municipalities' agreement? I'm wondering if they're reticent or hesitant to change this because they would have to change all the other agreements.
Every agreement is already signed, and
But-
that is,
But does it have the incorrect language that this one has?
yes,
And they're still signed?
yes.
No choice.
I really would like to, take this agreement and go directly to the commissioners, because I'm wondering if the information is actually being conveyed to them. Yeah, I mean, is the information getting to them?
Well, we had a meeting with Commissioner Akins, with Chair Akins. We met,
Oh, very
Emily and I
good.
met, yeah, very good one, very frank. We brought the information to him. He supposedly brought it back. We have met with, County Manager, what's her name?
Alicia Vaughn.
Alicia Vaughn, thank you, sorry, I need more coffee. We've met with their financial advisor, Tim Sims. I don't know how much more we can do. I mean, we can go at it one more time. We still have a couple of weeks. I'm happy to go at it once more.
I just don't understand, have they not given any sort of reasoning as to why they don't wanna change the language?
The reasoning, it was discussed with the chairman, according to the email that I received from Alicia Vaughn. And, the reasoning for not wanting to change any of the language is because they want to treat all of the cities equally, and everyone else has already signed the agreement. It's the only clarification.
I mean, so here's the thing, we are up against a rock and a hard place, because we have to have the service. Last year was a disaster. They printed on the front page, our police chief had to put down a rabid animal, they've bitten, people have been bitten. I think I've also said that, I've spent my own money on it.
A potentially rabid animal.
Potentially
We don't know.
rabid. Oh, that's true, because it
Have
wasn't,
rabies or
sorry,
not.
okay, well, correct. Potentially rabid. Thank you for
Yes.
making sure we're being straight. But, my thing is, if they're not gonna change it and they're stonewalling us, it's fine, you know, the $18,000, we absolutely need the service. I say that though, that we pass this agreement and live to fight another day, because this is now a whole, way bigger conversation than just animal control. It's about service delivery, and that encompasses a lot.
Look, this agreement doesn't even address Banks County.
So that's my second thing. We've got we have 4 Banks County residents that are getting ready to vote on an intergovernmental agreement that is coming out of Habersham County's taxpayer dollars. So, you know, so we have to, it is our it's our responsibility to talk to Banks County to say, okay, how are we gonna make sure that we are doing what Baldwin says that we are going to do, and that is dot our I's and cross our T's, because we want our people to trust our government.
Look, for the.
So if we're not doing what we say we're gonna do, then that makes us look like a bunch of jerks.
Well, for the 6 years you and I have been on council together, and you and I have been here the longest together, we've wanted to do things right. Every time we find a discrepancy somewhere, we've tried to fix it, we put it in writing, we establish agreements, you know, we bring everything to the table. We've asked the county to do this right over and over again. I mean, we've been fighting this for what, a year and a half?
I'm done, I'm so
Well,
exhausted.
I'm not done. I'm willing to go one more week. We do have a meeting with Chairman Turk next week to talk about Banks County. I mean, we can live to fight another day. We can table this tonight if that is the will of the council.
So this agreement automatically renews, correct?
That is
But we do
correct.
have an option to terminate it.
Yes, if you choose to terminate the agreement, we do have to give them a 60-day notice.
Okay, but we could renew it and then at some point down the road, yeah,
Cancel it.
we come up with a better option. Okay.
Ms. Davis, you look like you were gonna say something.
Yes. I would like for you to go one more time and ask.
And I heard something over here. Mr. Bowden.
Oh, I was going to go the exact opposite way. You know, the definition of insanity, right? So, now we get into physics. We're running up against a brick wall with this, and there's going to have to be some serious conversations. I just don't feel that the county is going to make a move on this in the next week.
I would add that the option that we gave them, there was 2 options presented to them a couple of weeks back. One of them was the $1,400 rate, and the second one was modifying the language in the IGA. Well, both of them requested that the language be modified to reflect what the calculation actually is. However, in the second option, it did also have changing the language and a termination date of June 30th. So we can present it with an auto renewal and the change in the language to reflect the actual calculation.
That, I can work with that.
I don't know that that will change anything, but it's,
Look, I want us
The
to
option we
now
have.
we're fighting for the right, to get it right. Because we're coming into service delivery conversations. I mean, these are gonna be big conversations, you know. Do we say it out loud? We're gonna be talking about EMS and EMS taxes. These are really big conversations we're about to have.
Road
And-
maintenance.
Right, well, and we need our citizens to know we're fighting to get it right.
Thank you, Mayor, and I'm gonna say that, you know, from the very beginning, the conversation was, hey, this is going to set a precedent, or this is going to set the tone for future service delivery negotiations. Now, a couple of the commissioners have told me, hey, you know, we disproportionately maintain some things for the cities, just cause, you know, in the name of doing things right and getting along and working together. Okay, but if you are doing something that is disproportionate to the county residents, that is in favor of the cities, we need to talk about this, but this sets the tone. This sets the tone. We've taken a black eye. This sets the tone for all of those future negotiations. Now, I've also said to them, if we're supposed to, at minimum, I think a year, 2025, if I'm not mistaken, is when we do the service delivery negotiations. If they're that complicated and that big of a deal, we need to start the form committee, get someone from every city, like I've been saying, look each other in the face with a mouthful of teeth and work this out. And it needs to start now, so that by the time we actually get down to the nitty gritty, that we've got all the kinks worked out. Everybody understands what their needs are, everybody understands what everyone else's needs are, and what we've got to negotiate. We need to start now. Problem is, with service delivery negotiations, is that you get newly elected folks, like you three, and when the last time we did service delivery negotiation, I was just as green as you guys. I didn't know my behind from a hole in the ground. I'm like, oh yeah, that sounds great, or oh, that sounds awful. Like with the fire service, we made the dumbest decision to tell the county to go pound sand because they're not paying us for our automatic aid. What an asinine, irresponsible decision, and I take full responsibility for that. So, because we've got newly elected officials and are going to have newly elected, maybe, on the commission, and all the cities have newly elected officials, we need to start at least a year in advance so that all of us have a solid understanding and a good grasp, because these decisions affect people's life, their property taxes, the quality of life in this community. And so, I'm just, as you all can tell, I'm really irritated.
Okay.
Yes, okay.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Bencher. Okay, are we ready to, we can take a vote, we can table, Ms. Davis, Councilwoman Davis, you were leaning toward tabling.
I am.
I can go with that.
I am too.
I agree, yeah.
They got one more chance to do the right
Okay,
thing.
first we need to vote on that. All those in favor of tabling the animal control IGA with the county, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes. We have tabled the animal control. Ms.
Was
Woodman?
there a first and a second?
Oh, we
Oh,
did
we
not,
did.
oh.
We sucked that backwards. Okay.
We're gonna start one more
Start
time.
over again.
Let's start again. We need to do over.
It is unanimous,
Can I have a
however.
motion- Can I have a motion to table the animal control IGA?
So moved.
You beat me at a motion? All right, good job.
We have a motion from Councilman Satterfield. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Decorum vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? There we go. All right, how is that, Ms. Woodmaster? Is that better?
Perfect.
That's right,
Very
all right.
good. Table that. We can see the headlines in the papers now. Okay, next item is consideration approval of utility encroachment ordinance, number 2024-04141. Ms. Woodmaster.
Yes, so we presented this at our work session last week. We would like to implement a communications utility right-of-way encroachment permit that would require any and all telecommunications to seek a permit from the city of Baldwin prior to entering our right-of-way. We did talk ad nauseum at the work session about why that's important and understanding what is in our right-of-way, who can be there, and what can be there, so as to not compromise the other utility that exists in that right-of-way, and ensuring that we know what's there. This does give us the ability to issue the permit. It does delineate all of the requirements that the city will require in order for a permit to be obtained. The fees are set by the city council, which we're looking at the master fee schedule, and it will be presented at that time. And it gives us the emergency situations clause, and also how long the permit is good for, and when they need to communicate their completion dates, or if they need an extension. So it does delineate everything that is required of them should they seek a utility encroachment permit.
Is this a first reading or this is the only?
This is the first reading.
First
Yes,
reading.
does require 2 readings.
Okay, any comments, questions to Ms. Woodmaster? Discussion?
I read it, actually is very comprehensive, and I think it's great. I'm looking forward to that being put into place to prevent situations where we're having to go out and fix things and then ask, hey, can you pay for this because you damaged it, and going through, yeah, no. Start with permits, and then everybody knows where everything is.
And for me, this is one of those getting it right things. You know, we've been asking for this for a long time, the Messenger Heights 4 years ago, which is evidence of the need for this. You know, our folks, our own public works folks were working needlessly. So, all right, can I have a motion to approve the first reading of the utility encroachment ordinance number 2024-04141 as presented?
So moved?
I have a motion from Councilwoman Venter. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Councilwoman Davis. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. Motion passes unanimously. Okay, still Ms. Woodmaster, you're a busy woman tonight. Consideration approval of the 2024-2025 liability insurance.
Again, we did present this to council at our work session. This is our annual renewal. For GERMA, the price did increase about 17%. We did go over what those changes look like. There was an average across the board increase for all GERMA members of about 15%. Ours was a little bit higher because of the water tower that we added to our assets, as well as some of our vehicles that were added. And a canine unit.
Yep.
That was not in there last year. So the proposed rate for this year is $125,664. This is an annual expense. We pay this at one time, and it is distributed throughout the year.
It is distributed by?
Throughout the year. So you don't see a maximum 100% on your R&E statement that we've maxed a budget line.
Yeah.
Any comments from council? Questions, concerns?
Gotta have it.
Okay. Can I have a motion to approve the purchase of liability insurance through GERMA for fiscal year 2025 as presented, and to authorize the CAO to execute the contract documents?
So moved.
I have a motion from Councilman Venter. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Councilwoman Davis. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Excellent. All right, new business. This one's not fun. Okay, new business, consideration approval of City Hall roof replacements.
All right.
Oh,
This is awesome.
yes.
All right, if you turn to page 31 of your packet, you will see a quote from United Contracting and Roofing. We have been requesting quotes for almost 2 months now.
Yeah.
And the reason it's coming before you tonight with only one quote in your packet is because we have uncovered that the leak is now moved into our server room.
Oh.
So we need to replace the roof ASAP. Originally, we had United quote us for the entire structure for all of City Hall. And that quote is in there as well. And then we asked them, we went back, after talking with Scott, we realized that there's 4 segments of our roof. So we got them to quote just the community room, because the community room is the animal right now. It's leaking through the doors on the northern side of the community room. And that's what prompted this quote. As most of you know, when we bought City Hall and renovated it, we had like a touch up on the roof, so anything that was exposed or issues, they were sealed, but there wasn't an entire coating over it. And our roof is flat. I am not well versed in the engineering of roofs. I know that having a flat roof is not the greatest, and there's a few different methods to achieve a long-term result to protect your property from water damage. One of those is a silicone coating. Another one is a TPO membrane. We currently have a silicone coating. With roofs like this, it is typical to have 2 or 3 layers of this silicone, because it's sealed and it wears away, and then it's sealed and it wears away, it's sealed, it wears away. So the contractor went out there and went onto the roof and did a coring sample to determine how extensive and how many times this has happened. It has only happened, from what they can tell, twice, and it's spot sealed on the second one. So there's the initial coating and then spot sealed on the second. So our proposal, their proposal, there's two different options, is to do the silicone coating, which is what's currently out there on the entire top part of the building. I mean, the entire roof. That includes the drive-through, so the entire structure. Or to do TPO membrane, which does require about $30,000 more worth of work. I say we stick to what we know. It's a silicone coating, and they can get that done relatively quickly. It'll take them, he said, within the month to begin. There may be a couple of weeks where they have to wait it out, rain, all of that. So it could be done within the next 2 months if we approve it, or once we approve it. There is a workmanship warranty, which again we did have with the contractor that repaired the roof when we bought the building. We had a workmanship warranty. However, it was only on the spot seals, so as long as those weren't leaking, there's nothing that could be done. So we had leaks about 2 years ago, and we went up there and sealed them. We tried to go to the warranty company, and that's what we found out, that we purchased a warranty that was only on the spots that were sealed. So I did want to clarify with United what their warranty looks like, and you'll see on page, I'm gonna say it's 44. 55. There is a workmanship warranty. Let me grab my phone because I did write all that it is. There's an option to buy that one.
Bye, y'all.
Y'all have your night.
Me too, thank you.
We'll see you out Thursday.
Yes.
Okay, so I apologize. They're also redoing all of the shingles, which if you've seen the shingles, you know they're in bad shape. Those were never touched. Those are the original shingles from the building. So there's pretty extensive damage. It is time to replace those. We actually had it in the budget 3 years ago to replace the shingles and the gutters, and then that got cut. So we're proposing to redo their shingles at this time. The shingles have a 50-year manufacturer's warranty and a 5-year in-house labor warranty. There is an additional option to upgrade on the shingles from 5 years to a 10 to 25-year manufacturer warranty. There is also a 15-year labor warranty on the silicone, which if it cracks, if it leaks, they're going to come out and repair it at no charge to the city. And that's what's on page 55, that if it is if it is a product malfunction or the installation malfunction, they come out and they repair that at no charge to the city. Make sure I get that right. There is an option to buy up. I did not ask them what that option looks like because the current one is 15 years for the silicone and the shingles have a 50-year manufacturer warranty. So if you would like, I'm more than happy to go back and ask him what those are. I think those are the major points of it. So the proposal for the silicone membrane or the silicone coating is $43,000 for the entire roof. You'll jump back to page 40 in your packet. You have the silicone coating, which is $43,211.94. And then you also have the option of the TPO and gap shingle system, which is $70,769.06.
I'm sorry, can you say that again, please?
The $70,769.06. And then there is the third quote that they added at my request, which is just the community room at $28,000. However, if we do that, there is no guarantee that it fixes the server room, and so I do not recommend that. I would have recommended that a week ago, so I'm kind of glad that we did not bring this forward. I tried to reach out to other companies to get quotes. We had a guy who Alice and I were talking to said that he was gonna give us a quote, haven't heard back from him, called him again, didn't hear anything. But another company, who heard that we were looking, said that they wanted to give us a quote, they did a drone image, and started preparing a quote, but they wanted to charge us for the coring sample, which isn't typical, so we asked them to send us a quote on what it would cost, for that coring sample. We asked them again for that today, and we have not heard back. So I don't know, I mean, I can wait, but the danger in waiting is the server room.
With all the rain that we've had, and I knew just from my line of business that that roof was not in good shape, aside from the fact that we don't have gutters, and is it still making the wall wet on the one in Vivian's office?
Yeah, we've sealed it, but we'll have to seal it again,
Yeah.
probably in the next 2 years.
Yeah,
Cause it is starting to break away again. It's
Yeah.
just silicone sealed.
and so, you know, I didn't know it was that bad, now
Yeah.
seeing these drone images.
Yeah.
And we can't accept just any roofer,
No.
No,
right, so tell us what we're looking for in a roofer who could bid.
Well, they have to be certified. They have to be licensed to do the work. They have to be bonded and insured, which United is. And we're also looking at warranties because of what happened just a few short years ago with our warranty.
yeah,
And they have to be, there's a lot of roofing companies that just do residential roofs because they're smaller, easier to scale. But with commercial roofs, I mean, there isn't many options when it comes to a commercial roofing
yeah.
material, but every roof is still different, and so it does come, we want somebody that, or a company that has experience in commercial structures, and United does. They've actually done 3 roofs, like the silicone coating and the TPO, in Atlanta with a couple of studios. So I did look at them to see what kind of quality of work they did. I did vet the 2 recommended that are on their website. I reached out to the companies to find out if they were as good as they say they are, and they are. So
Yeah.
I'm confident in this decision. I wish that I had more options to choose from. However, I'm more than happy to continue to wait. I just am very concerned about the server room, being that we just invested a significant amount of money improving the server room.
Yes.
So where I work at Haversham Metal Products, we just used United to roof a 180,000 square foot building. It took them many, many months, but Haversham Metal all gave it a thumbs up, so
Nice.
Do you know what kind of roof they got?
it's white.
Is it flat? Is it flat?
So it's
Oh,
probably
yeah, those
the-
kind. That's awesome.
If it's white, it's probably the TPO.
Yeah, that's my.
Yeah.
Same. Nice, alright. Yeah, I don't know that other roofing company, cause Emily said, yeah, I'm just not getting anybody to give us any quotes, and I knew of a roofer, so I'm sorry to hear that he unfortunately did not reach out, but I don't think that his company would be able to provide the warranty that this company, I didn't take all of that into consideration. I don't know if
That's
they,
fine.
deal with that, so.
Anything else?
So my proposal, this is not a budgeted expense.
Right, how we're gonna pay for it.
We did not expect this to happen. However, I do feel confident in our fund balance. I know we don't like spending money from our fund balance. It's not, I don't recommend it. We use it as a balancing mechanism for our budget. But based on the last 2 years and where we anticipate our fund balance being, even with this expense, we still have about 2.5 to 3 months cash on hand for the general fund.
Okay.
So it's not a burden on the general fund's fund balance. Less than ideal, but it is possible to get that done.
Which one, the 40,000 or the 70,000?
The 44.
Okay.
I do not recommend the TPO membrane.
No, yeah.
I would if we had a newer
United
building
States, yeah,
and
right.
we were building a building. Although if we were building a building, I wouldn't recommend a flat roof.
Exactly.
Can you remind everybody how old City Hall is?
It was built in the early 80s. It was a former bank, so we didn't have any say over
Yeah.
how they did what they did. But there's a couple of our lovely bank structures throughout Habersham County that still look like this. The old Regions, which I think is now a church in Clarksville, and then of course the one on the hill.
That French provincial, that was, yeah.
All the rage.
Yeah.
So we all leaning toward the 43?
Yeah.
Do you want me to go back and request a higher manufacturer warranty on the silicone?
I was looking at warranty.
It's 15
pretty
years.
decent.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's how many?
Yeah. It's 15 years for the silicone. It's 5 years for the workmanship of the shingles, but a 50-year shingle warranty.
Yeah, that's, it's architect.
Where's United located?
Clarksville?
Great.
And the owner actually went to Everson Central Hospital.
They do.
We like
Yeah.
local.
Yeah, we do.
We like that. Okay. Can I have a motion to approve the City Hall roof repair expense not to exceed $44,000 as presented and to authorize the CAO to execute the contract documents and to be expensed from
The general
the
fund.
general
Fund down.
fund balance?
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion from Councilman Mentor. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Councilman Satterfield. All those in favor? Any opposed? Abstentions? Okay. All right, we're gonna get this roof done. Save our servers. All right, and then the next item of new business, approval consideration of Public Works meter reading update.
All right, page 61, you'll see the quote from Delta Municipal Supply. We have been talking about this for about 2 years internally, upgrading our meter reading equipment. For those of you who were here for the meter change-out program, you will know that we have these handheld devices that our guys go out there and read meters with. They click a button, draws in the data, and then they bring that device back to City Hall. They put it on a docking station, and then the information is transmitted into our software, our utility billing software. They are phasing out the hardware and the software that we currently use with Neptune. Currently, it is only on one computer. There's 2 licenses, but there's only one computer that can access Neptune to pull all of the data. So that's all of our meter readings, any black boxes that are requested, all of those graphs, and all of the data for all of the meters are stored in that system. It's on one computer, only one person can access it at a time. And we have 2 of the handheld meter reading devices. I almost called them what they are, but anyway. So we have those. They're also phasing those out as well. So one of them, we had 2, because we have 2 meter readers, and one of them went down about 8 months ago, and we've been working with Delta to get it repaired. However, they're phasing it out, so they don't have the backup battery for it anymore. And they're moving everything to the cloud. So the proposal that you see in your packet tonight is for Neptune 360. All of our data is stored in the cloud. It is secure, and they have 2 backups to all of that data. Additionally, all of our meter readers can use iPads in the field, which also means that we can send them work orders directly to their iPads, and they don't have to come into City Hall to retrieve those. So it is a benefit. It is creating a little bit of a quicker process in terms of meter reading and identifying when someone has a water leak. So when they're out there and reading the meters, we can get notifications at City Hall immediately that somebody has really high usage. We can look at it at that time and notify the customer, versus them reading all of our meters in the system, bringing it back to City Hall, dumping it into the system, printing a report, and then reading every single page, which is 256 pages of meter information, and determining who might have a leak, and then create a work order to go out there and let somebody know that there's water.
Who usually reads us 256 pages?
Cindy, our accounts receivable
On top of
supervisor.
what she already does, yeah. So, I would venture to say that the, water leak that we had that was so big last year,
We would have caught it.
probably would have paid for this several times over.
Yes.
Had we been able to have the ability to know that that was going on, that would have already paid for this several times.
That is correct.
Yeah.
So the proposal you see is the Neptune 360 software, actually installing it, the one-time fee to set it up. There is no fee for us to get training on it. It's relatively user intuitive. We demoed it a couple of years ago, a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago. That's what I mean by a couple. And it's really great, easy to use. Cindy was there when we did it. Additionally, on the quote, you'll see a drive-by system upgrade. This is $9,500. This is so that we can hit a button and get all of those readings as we go by. And then we have a belt clip receiver and a belt clip receiver upgrade. We currently only have one belt clip. The belt clip is the infamous black box.
Yeah.
That's what we go out, and that's the system or the device that we use to create that graph. So we only have one, and if there's only one, and we have 2 meter readers, only one black box can happen at a time. So we are proposing that we add another one to our system so that we have 2. And then the upgrade is obviously because the one that we currently have is 7 years old. So this is the quote for Neptune 360 upgrade. We did plan for this in the budget. There is the extra belt clip receiver is additional that we did not anticipate in the budget, but Scott says he can still pay for it through his budget. So there's no additional request for this. We just need authorization to proceed.
Are there additional suppliers out there?
For this,
Yeah.
no. Delta Municipal Supply has a state contract.
Okay.
Another thing that I think is also, so I assume that the actual meters remain the same?
Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
it's just the way that we're reading the meters.
That's correct.
Well, just the savings in, the hours,
Oh my,
going through all the data,
Yeah.
it's worth it.
more efficiency.
And everyone can access it.
Yep.
So everyone that needs to at City Hall can look at meter information versus that one person. Like, for example, today I had a customer coming in to talk to me about their water account, and I didn't have the black box reading, so I had to go to Cindy's computer and log in under my own name, but it's on that system. And so I logged in, and then I locked us out of the Neptune account because I don't get in it often. But she wasn't here today, so that's what happens. We won't have that problem anymore.
That's good.
I did get the black box. She actually had it printed already, so it was fine. But
Good.
Any other questions, concerns?
But phasing it up,
Yep, that's it.
Yep.
Okay. All right, can I have a motion to approve the Public Works meter reading program update in the amount of $23,050 as presented and to be paid for via the Public Works?
currently budgeted funds.
Currently budgeted funds.
So moved.
I have a motion from Councilwoman Venter. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Councilman Satterfield. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Okay, that's unanimous. Very good. Okay, and Ms. Woodmaster, last one, discussion of Park Avenue right-of-way abandonment.
All right.
We've been working on this one for a minute.
Some of you are well versed
Yes.
in this debacle, this melodrama.
Yes.
So there is a property in downtown Baldwin that has been here for almost over 100 years.
Well, it's over.
It's over now, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was built in 1907.
That's the only thing we got left is
Yeah.
historic. So
Well, we
downtown-
have, right, we have a lovely couple who has been persistent in their pursuit to buy that building. It started off as just a need for storage, and it turned into something more
Yes.
for these potential buyers. And they have big dreams, and they're lovely and incredibly patient.
Yes, incredible. Yes.
And so we had a lot of back and forth about who owns the land that the building is on, because the surveyor came out and said that we had 50-foot rights of way on Park Avenue and on Willingham and on Stone Pile, and we don't have that listed anywhere. And so this was an immediate issue because we were like, well, this isn't what we claim, and this is what they claim, and there was a lot of back and forth. And it is, to my knowledge, it's imperative for a title insurer to know who has rights to the land, whatever the land might be.
Mhm.
And so there's the old bank building and the old Banks County precinct that sits on this property, or what we thought sat on this property, that Q Public indicated was, for lack of a better term, a pie-shaped property.
Mhm.
And that's what they thought they were getting. And so it all started with trying to figure out who owned the precinct. Because the city, we have records from the 70s,
Yeah.
that we were leasing the building from Banks County, but Banks County has no record of the lease, and the original owners had no idea that they even owned the building, but they thought maybe they did. So there's I'll save you all of the details, the
Yeah.
hearing details. If you want to know, I'm happy to tell you.
Yeah. it is.
But they just kept going, they kept going. They got turned down by 3 lawyers. They would not close on this property because they could not identify the right of way. And we kept telling them, we only acknowledge 30 feet of right of way, not 50. We know exactly where our water line is, and the 30 feet, it always made sense. It always made sense. And then when we thought all hope was lost, a local attorney had an undocumented plat of this property.
Unrecorded yet.
Yeah, it was an unrecorded plat. It was surveyed, it was properly surveyed, but it just was not recorded with deeds and records. And it identifies the 50 feet of right-of-way where the building sits. So when you look at the current survey on page 67, this is the one that was most recently done. You can
Yes.
see there's a yellow section that is in that 50 feet of right-of-way.
Straight through the center of the building.
Yeah, so the city owns half that building, and then the Smiths own the other half, but not really. And so, because of this unrecorded plat, it did confirm that we did have an interest in the right-of-way, albeit we don't need it. We know exactly where our water line is. But in order for them to close on this property, they have requested that we abandon this section of our right-of-way so that they can fully own the land underneath their building. So the proposal before you tonight is to abandon that section of right-of-way that encapsulates their entire building and still keeps our right-of-way at 30 feet, which is what we always thought it was.
Right, anyway, right.
So that is the proposal for tonight. There is a scheduled public hearing for this, for any interested parties. That will be at our end of month meeting.
Yeah.
And once that is completed, we can adopt the resolution to officially abandon this piece of right-of-way and allow them to close on their beloved property.
Am I right in that you guys literally were looking all the way back to the 1800s to try to clear this title?
True.
That's ridiculous.
They did it,
Yeah.
extensive work, a significant amount of work to go into it. And then
Yeah.
for it to yield for us nothing, because it left us nowhere. Like we
Nowhere.
were like, we can't
All
help
that
you.
work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we can't abandon something we don't have in the first place.
Right.
And so until we could find something that says we own it in the first place,
Yeah.
we couldn't give them what they wanted, and that was sort of the reason for the ongoing
Yes.
saga.
Yeah.
Then finally, this unrecorded plat
Yeah.
is
It
found.
shows up.
I'm so.
And
That
so
was
are
great.
they. So the couple that is hopefully going to close on the property once this is completed, they came into my office because I was telling them all the good news. They were like, we were just in town. We didn't even know this happened yet. And so we were talking all about it, and actually was walking out, the husband and wife. They were like, man, Emily, what are you going to do when we don't come into your office anymore? And I was like, I'm going to show up at the building. Like, we're friends now. We have spent many a time, many hours talking about this property, and they did, man, whatever it took.
I'm excited about them investing into our little downtown area. It's in our comprehensive plan that our downtown overlay district, whatever fancy words that are, needs improvement. And that's one of the very last historic buildings that we have. It was remind me, it was a bank. It was also a post office.
It was a post office and then a bank.
Yeah, it even had the
Maybe it
front
was a-
blown off by bank robbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, they hopped on
Train.
the train, took the train in, jumped off the train, blew off the bank, robbed it, and got back on the train.
See, that wouldn't have been a problem if we had animal control.
It is, it's a wild, wild south, a ball of the last frontier. Yeah,
All right, so
Great.
this was for discussion only?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. There will be a public hearing for anyone interested in speaking for or against the abandonment of said property. This is the people's property.
yeah.
And then you can read the resolution Monday.
So this is gonna be for our next meeting?
Yes.
Well, the public hearing is for the next meeting.
And the
Yeah.
resolution. You can adopt it, yeah. Any questions?
No, you did great, everybody did great.
Being that there's no executive session, we'll move into announcements. Join us for the 25th, the Baldwin's 25th anniversary cleanup day on Saturday, April 20th from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the Baldwin Farmers Market. Celebrate Earth Day by cleaning up Baldwin Road and planting a tree. Did we ever get those stickers made?
We did.
That say I.
They will know that.
Cleanup Day, very good.
That is an honorable
There's a
mention.
sticker coming, very good.
Hopefully no one heard it.
Okay, and we get to award our artists their little gift certificates and announce it, so exciting. All right, calling all farmers and foodies, join us on the 2nd and 4th Saturday of May, June, and July for the Refresh Market. Bring your fruits, vegetables, farm fresh eggs, honey, and other goods to City Hall for a free place to sell your fresh staples. Vendor applications can be found at www.cityofbaldwin.org. Contact John at City Hall for more information. This is exciting. I can't wait for my garden to grow so I can come in.
Yes.
Okay, any announcements from council?
Announcement. I would like to personally thank, Chief Chris Jones, because Friday, teamed up with Aaron Spivey. Is that how you say his last name?
Yes.
Yeah, approximately 6:15 to 11:45, we drove all around Baldwin, and did lots of things. So thanks for that, and it was a pleasure to meet, all your policemen the week before. Thank you.
Good. You guys are helping.
Great learning opportunity for you.
Yes, definitely.
Good.
You learned how to chase roosters.
Oh, you
Yeah.
got those roosters?
No, not yet, we're still waiting to hear from the homeowner, but yeah,
Okay.
yep, that was cool though.
Okay, any announcements from staff? Can I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll leave it.
I have a motion from Councilman Mentor, do I have a second?
Second.
I have coordinating seconds. Was that Ms. Davis or was that?
Yeah.
Was that you? All those in favor?
Can
Any
we
opposed?
state who the second was?
Ms. Harris?
Ms. Davis, okay.
Any opposed? All right, meeting's adjourned.
One of these days I'm gonna have to visit.
One hour.
Yeah.
All of that.